Yeah.
Gotta do the
You gotta do the screen share.
Yeah.
You took the screen share off. So
Hi Elizabeth.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
Good morning. Fine, thank you.
Awesome.
can she see you?
Can you see me okay?
I can.
Great. And I've got my screen shared.
I don't know if she sees your screen. yet.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't see your screen.
thank you.
There you go. Share screen. Number one. Share. Boom. Should be good to go.
You can see it now, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, we were just preparing some more content for the slideshow more than what SOFA gives us. Their stuff's pretty boilerplate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to add some real life content. Looks like Joe's in the waiting room.
Okay.
Good morning, Joe.
Morning, Joe. And we had several people accept, so I'm sure we'll have more people join in a few minutes.
Joe, if you can hear me, that's great. Just we're giving everybody a little bit more time to show up. So thanks for being patient.
No problem. Thanks, Jim.
I got your voicemail, by the way. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, let me know if you want to connect after. We can chat.
Well, I will. Thank you. I'd reached out to Joe, Elizabeth, because it's always an easy out to eliminate debt in your life by closing more loans. Right, Joe?
You ain't kidding there.
So I just wanted to make sure we're on the same wavelength. I'm not going to be that blunt on the talk here, but I knew you would know, being a sales manager, that that always solves a lot of problems if you go a lot higher than your goal for the month, right, Joe?
100%.
Let me just admit Ashley real quick.
Okay.
Hey, Aaron, the camera doesn't show up, the picture. The camera. I can't see myself. Is that possible? Hi, Ashley. Thanks for attending. We're going to wait just one more minute to get started. There you go. Thank you. She's
All right, Jim, if we want to go ahead and get started, and people join in, I know if we
Yeah.
just want to keep an eye on the waiting room, hopefully we'll have some more that
Okay.
show up.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for attending. What a huge personal responsibility it is of you to take your time out to listen to a 40-minute discussion about taking control of your cash, eliminating debt. My name's Jim Pullen, and I'm the host. And the reason I was asked to be the host is because one of the groups that my business partners with is called Society for Financial Awareness. And as a member, we connected with CanCapital, and Elizabeth Good and the HR department made a very good decision, to partner with us to present several financial topics. So today's topic is, as the screen shows, taking control of your cash, eliminating debt. Because everyone's on mute, we don't have to worry about your cell phones, and we will answer questions at the end, but the talk should be no more than 45 minutes because I realize that your stomach will probably be talking to you. So I'll make it quick as I can. You know, I don't like hearing from people who are not biased, and I like hearing from people who are not biased. And that's one of the reasons that we partnered with CAN, is because we specialize in educating tons of companies around America. And SOFA, as a mission, is to end financial illiteracy across America, one community at a time. So calling someone illiterate is not a very good compliment, but there's different levels of illiteracy. So we're trying to help people who are employed throughout America to become more financial literate. And again, this is only going to be a talk to educate you and hopefully inspire and motivate you to take some action. We do have a great track record at SOFA for visiting with tons of big companies. The last two sessions, I have mentioned to Elizabeth, we got to put CAN on the board there, Elizabeth. So we got to get your logo up there. You know, there's only one area we'd like for your help, and that is to let us know how we've done with this topic today. And I'll email each of you a fillable evaluation form, and that will help us to know what future topics you might want to hear about. And also, if you have any questions about today's topics. And then another free offer would be, if you want to continue the conversation with me about your personal financial situation, this is a way to let us know if you want to talk a little bit about financial planning with your personal confidential affairs to be discussed with me over the telephone or in person. So that offer is out there, no obligation, no whatsoever. You know, why are we doing these pro bono free sessions? Me personally, the reason why is because, you know, my mother and father went through life on a certain path with regards to finances, and my wife's mother and father chose a different path on their personal financial affairs during their working years. And then there's the grandparents. So being exposed to three different generations, my daughter's in the middle, her name's Ellis. She's just 27. My son's a financial planner, 29. So we've got several generations. And, you know, with me just turning 57, you know, I think it's important to share with audiences some experience and financial wisdom that I've accumulated over the last 35 years in this industry. So my goal is to help each person on this phone call to just be more aware of debt and what they could do to eliminate or correct it. So that's about it on the why. So let's get right down to it. Oh, by the way, I'm a business owner in downtown Alpharetta. I own Secure Life Benefits, and that's my full-time job. But my extracurricular activity is hosting these Society of Financial Awareness presentations. So, oh my gosh, happiness is making financial decisions, making informed financial decisions. I tell people all the time, I really hate money, but we got to get around America, and it just happens to be the tool that we get around with to function, money. So it's an important part of life, but contrary to popular belief, the key to financial success isn't really being born wealthy or having friends in high places. It's making your own personal informed financial decisions. So there's so many forks in the road that you're going to come to throughout your career that choosing the right direction can really make a big difference in your quality of life. So we're going to go through a few fundamentals to help you hopefully make better financial decisions throughout your working career and today. Oh gosh, I've heard this for years, and it never fails. If I had a great month financially, or I'm in a really good mood, I mean, it's just human nature that we want. And I've paused many times in my life on purchasing something by determining, is it a need or a want? And so, we just moved into a new home, and I got the dreaded 65-inch TV. Did I really need it? Nope, but I wanted it. So, spending money on things we think we need or that we think will create happiness for us, it's really based on the notion that we can accurately predict how we'll feel in the future after the item's been purchased. But when you say to yourself, something like, I can't live without that new phone, you're predicting that your life is going to be much more happier with that phone. But after all, what would you do without one if they'd never been invented? So having the absolute best state of the art for a little bit less money, and that's a personal call, but the whole topic here on this slide is, at the time that you're considering purchasing something, just pause a little bit and determine if it's a need or a want. From a psychological standpoint, I think we're all guilty if we wanted to be under self-examination today. Sometimes we think that purchasing a product or a service or an item will make us happy. And, the item loses value over time. And then we look for the next item to make us happy, and then another, and so on. So I believe one way to avoid making that kind of repetitive potential error in the future is to be accountable to ourselves and, recognize that item can lose value over time. And, a simple experiment such as each time you purchase something, look back at what other items you might have purchased without thinking about the future, and engage your family members with you in that decision. Sometimes we leave things to our own self. It can be our greatest demise. So when you're looking at purchasing an item, try to purchase based on logic, not emotion. Trust me, I'm no judge here on the call with you. I have to always check myself, but I'm just bringing up some principles that if you haven't thought about it, these are a couple of things we all go through. We're all human beings. So you may be surprised how taking some time to make these self-checks along the way could help you. That's not to say that if you forego getting something that you want, that's nothing to do with your self-worth. Your self-worth has nothing to do with your net worth. So, I'm not being Mr. Financial Coach here, but, money does not make the person. Gosh, have I learned that. It's who they are on the inside. I just passed 33 years of marriage, and that's a long time to be married. And I would never tell my wife this. Hopefully she's not listening, but I love her and I married her because of the person she is on the inside. And, really, it's all mental. Everything in life is. So just know that your self-worth is much more valuable than your net worth, but it's always nice to have both. So anytime somebody has a fear of their finances or a fear of anything, we'll put it off, analysis paralysis. Lord knows the employees that work with prospects and business owners to implement loans. There's all kinds of stalls, and a lot of that wholesaling process, even with your company, is understanding the psychology behind the prospect. So you shouldn't live in fear. You're in control, but it doesn't always feel like that. So you just got to adopt the mindset that if you put something off financially that you need to correct, it's not going to get better on its own. You got to be mature enough to pull that out and, address it, because any high interest debt that gets prolonged, it's like a little bitty snowball at the top of the mountain that can turn into a glacier. And, when you're in a difficult situation, it's really important that you address it, because it impacts everything about your life. And you're like, well, this is such a basic talk, Jim. Tell me something I didn't know. Well, I'm just reinvigorating you to think through your finances, to take a few steps that I'm going to cover in just a minute. So there's no point in waiting for your situation to improve before you tackle your money positions. So, gosh, what makes you happy? It's often said that, the best things in life are free, and it's true. Unfortunately, some people convince themselves that they don't deserve happiness and accept their circumstances far too easily. I grew up in a household where things were very important. I mean, we had rooms that we weren't allowed to go into growing up. And they would know when we're in those rooms because the carpet tracks from the vacuum cleaner would have little footprints. And, that taught me a lot, because you've got to be able to enjoy the things that you have. And, being too married to things can subconsciously sabotage, your efforts to achieve financial happiness. We're all built differently. So, spend a few minutes each day thinking about what makes you happy. And it's important to take some time to do this, because we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life that we don't take the time to think. And, there's a lot of humor in doing that, looking back at some mistakes or how you valued certain things. And hopefully you can take the time to do that. So I challenge you to take some time and remind yourself about some of your spending habits, and think about, did purchasing this or that or financing this or that really make you happy? So anyway, guys, isn't it true? Anything in life, hard work typically equals success. And you have to be willing to sacrifice to achieve goals. There's no secrets to success. You can borrow this, Joe Winters. the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure is a process that we all have to go through. And I've always been an extremely hard worker. And if you're made up like that, it's one of the most admired traits that I get positive feedback on. Now, there can be an excessive hard work and an unbalanced lifestyle, but I think we all know that just going to bat, working hard and working smart can really eliminate a lot of financial problems. So take control of your circumstances. Let's look at some goals. How did other people in my industry achieve goals? Research how they did it. Find someone who's on the path you want to pursue and have a conversation with them. That is so critical. You can either soar with the eagles or run with the chickens. And you've got to really be around people that build you up, or somebody that's more successful with you, and ask them questions. People who are successful love to share, because what they don't tell you is when they're sharing with you and teaching you, they get better. So don't be afraid to ask questions of others in your department or in your field that you can learn from. And you can't immediately turn everything around. You got to take small steps. So first off, you've got to educate yourself a little bit about finances, and we'll get to that in a second. It's always good to have somebody who's going through life at your same level, because we all get lonely. I don't know what it is, but negative thinking creeps in. But if we have somebody else, like a spouse or children or a coworker, who's all striving to be better in their field, then that's going to make the journey a lot more fun. So take a moment to ask yourself, what your financial goals are and how you might go about reaching them. So don't be afraid of a little self-sacrifice. It's kind of like you've heard, the eighth wonder of the world is the compounding effect of money. If you do self-sacrifice for a few years in your life, that can't be taken away from you. The compounding effect of hard work will really pay off later. So it might have to take a family meeting to say, look, spouse, I'm going to be a monomaniac for 2 to 3 years. We've all got to give in a little bit. But if I invest my time and my effort in this industry, in my position, it's all going to be downhill after 3 years. Hopefully, if you don't take the wrong turn along the way and move slowly. But, being responsible to take your own circumstances and run the show is huge. So one of the difficult spots we're all in is being accountable to yourself by setting up a budget. And, we've had a prior workshop that I hosted last month about budgeting, and we can send you that replay. But one of the components of the budgeting process is basically just having your budget on some sort of software or iPad or notepad, so that you can review and see where you have come from, where you're going, and where you're headed. And I'll be glad to email everyone when we finish today this personal budget sheet that you can fill in. It's got about every category you can imagine, although I don't think it has nails. Sorry, ladies. Ashley, Elizabeth, got to add in the nail column. But anyway, just about everything is listed there. So that's a good template to go with. If that's okay to send that to you, we'll sure do it. So, the single most important thing you can do is develop a plan, right? Identifying the needs and the wants, discussing those options, and adjusting your spending accordingly. But this budget completion is really the secret to success. I mean, sure, a way out of any financial problem is to close more loans, prospect more diligently, open more deals. That's true. I lived like that several years of my life, but it was only because of my partner who had to have peace of mind, wanted to see it on paper. And that helped me to have everything about my business in QuickBooks, everything about my personal finances on my own record keeping system. And you can get a lot of self-satisfaction by looking at where you've come, where you are, where you're going. Heck, if you just go at it blindfolded, the negativity will eat you alive because you don't have anything down on paper. What a stress reliever to know what's coming in and what's going out. It's enough on that. I could just go to town on that because I know how important that is to have numbers on paper and review them month to month, quarter to quarter. I'm sure that some of you on the phone who are in the sales area, there's activity goals. And if one portion of your activity is lacking, it will reveal itself later with your success. If the sales process is 4 steps, or if the customer process is 4 components, when one of those gets weak, it will reflect itself later. But you have no idea if you're not tracking your numbers. So, it's really important to track and plan with a budget. Okay, this is basic stuff right here, Financial Planning 101 in college. Financial Planning 101 is building an emergency fund. You got to try to put together 3 to 6 months of savings worth of expenses because life does happen. And if you don't have any money built up at all, you're forced to use high interest rate tools that can cost a lot more than already the event called the Life Happens event. Who wants to do a cash advance on a credit card or borrow money from a relative and be obligated to someone else? So the first thing would be to try to build an emergency fund. And that would be a liquid accessible account. And those are hard to find nowadays to keep up with inflation. But I've got some ideas in that area. But main thing is you got to have 3 to 6 months or there's going to be an emergency that will hit and we want you to be prepared rather than go through a catastrophic financial event. That's not part of the way you're made up, is to become a financial guru, but you got to try to educate yourself a little bit about making good financial moves. And, there is no obligation at all for you guys to want to talk with me later after hours on your own time, but just having someone to bounce some ideas off of about your finances, debt reduction, etc., can be really, really helpful. Because again, if you don't speak with someone, it's always good to get a second opinion. My parents are 79 years old. I think I went to 4 doctors to determine whether a hip replacement was necessary or not. So you just got to do that nowadays. There's not a one-size-fits-all financial answer to any financial issue you're faced with. So take it all in. You don't have to be that bright, but do collect different opinions and go with the one that fits your situation. Credit counseling is a little bit severe, but if you don't seem to have any money left over at the end of the month to make ends meet, or you're among the millions of Americans that struggle to make more than minimum credit card payments, then sometimes a credit counselor can help. But me being a financial advisor, we can talk about a few quick suggestions right now. One thing that you can take away is, for those on the call that have a home mortgage, this doesn't cost any money. You can log in to your mortgage lender website, and if you got a 30-year fixed mortgage, take the same amount of money you're paying a month and cut it in half, and you knock 4 to 5 years off your 30-year mortgage. Very easy. That's a no-brainer. If you can manage your other bills so that you can pay half the mortgage, half the property tax, half the homeowner's insurance on one day of the month, and then approximately 15 days later, pay the other half, take 5 years off your 30-year mortgage. Very easy, isn't it? Again, it's just logging in or calling the lender to make that happen. So I like to see things in writing. Here it is in writing. If you had a $305,000 mortgage, and over those years, you're going to pay a lot of interest above the actual mortgage amount, aren't you? This will make you sick. But just splitting up the total current monthly payment into half twice a month saves you $52,000 of interest. So again, no extra money out of pocket, no rearranging anything. But that to me would be that almost might be worth taking an hour out today for this talk today to listen. Very easy, but it's good to see it in writing, isn't it? Here's a great one. Gosh, how many clients have I helped who just weren't aware that they don't need a second mortgage? Who wants another 15 to 30-year mortgage in addition to the first mortgage? So I've shopped all the big banks for home equity lines of credit. And even with today's high interest rates, you can get about a 5% loan on a home equity line of credit. And you can take that home equity line of credit for the purposes of home improvement, and you can use that money and pay all interest higher than 5% off and eliminate that high interest debt, which is going to free up several $100s a month. Nobody knows this better than the CanCap salespeople, but sometimes we spend so much of our efforts helping others, we forget to take care of the home team, right? So I'll throw this out at you. United Community Bank has a very good HELOC program, and tax returns aren't even required depending on your credit score. And so having a HELOC can really help out, eliminate several $100s of high interest debt. And that's kind of shown here on credit card debt. The HELOC is a great way to eliminate debt with credit cards, as long as you don't run them back up again. But your credit score is so important too nowadays. Y'all know that. But this is the difference in having a $14,000 credit card balance and 18% interest versus 29% interest. That could take more than 31 years to repay those high interest debts. So managing that kind of debt is really important, because you're not created to be a servant to debt on earth. Okay, you want to live the best life and being a slave to debt can really affect everything about you. Not getting sentimental here. And again, I'm not being any judgment here whatsoever. I've been there. I had a friend tell me, like Gordon Gekko on the movie Wall Street, greed is good. Go out and get a business loan and buy this building and blah, blah, blah. And that was a bad mentor. It was too much debt for me at that time in my career. And I was a real jackass for about 5 years until I got a grip on that. So I just want you to live the best life. CanCapital is putting on this little talk because they want you to be happy in your personal home finances, as well as when you come to work and perform for their company. So again, if I can help anyone on the call to just bounce some ideas off of, I'm happy to do that. So anyway, there's lots of concepts about getting out of debt, but one of the most popular ones is called the debt snowball, and that's where you commit extra funds to pay off your accounts, starting with the smallest balance first, pay the minimum payments on the larger debts. When the smallest payment is paid off, you go on to the next larger debt, and that's a great way to tackle high interest debt. Give yourself some satisfaction and sense of accomplishment by doing so. So, you know, again, talking to a credit counseling agency, you've really got to get a great referral to one of those entities, because sometimes they will have a hidden agenda. But I'd prefer that you speak with a financial advisor or get referred to one that is licensed to give you counseling, financially eliminate debt, and rearrange some things about your debt. Okay, so we're already at 38 minutes since 11:30. We're almost finished up here in about 10 minutes for questions. Life on a debt management program. Bills which can be included in a debt management program include credit cards, personal loans, unsecured, personal loans secured by household items, blah, blah, blah. So if you take all the debts and have them on your budget, let's see what interest rates apply to various debts, and then we can consider an approach to tackle it. Nobody wants to take on more debt to cancel out high interest debt, but if you have to do that to eliminate several $100s of high interest debt, it's a great way to knock it out. So that just boils down to putting everything on paper and jotting down the account statements, interest rates, and seeing what you can do to rearrange some finances or take out some loans, etc. So anyway, I already have told you at the beginning, I own Secure Life Benefits. We're in downtown Alpharetta. And of course, you're welcome to take a picture of this screen so you'll have my direct line number, my email address. And then of course, I'll get the email addresses for Joe and Ashley and send y'all a follow-up email and offer if y'all want to have a phone conversation. That's great. And of course, if you don't mind, just take a minute to fill out that fillable survey form and let me know how we did, and if there's some other topics there that you really want to, discuss in the future. Anything we do talk about your personal finances is 100% confidential. But again, there's no string attached to do that, but we're here for you. So thank you all for your time, and have a great rest of the week. I can't believe we've only got 3 months left in the year. I'm excited about the Braves and the Dogs. I'm even excited about Alabama Roll Tide, because my daughter's a graduate there, and I pay student loan bills every month on her behalf. So I know all about debt reduction and rearrangement. So do y'all have any questions? If you have any, you can take yourself off mute and ask a question or two, or you can email me there with a question if you have anything you want to go over.
Hey, Jim, I know we have a really large pool of people to select from, but were we going to do the Amazon gift card today?
Yes, we were. Large pool.
Yes.
Okay. You are on the ball, Elizabeth Good, and I'm sure Joe and Ashley appreciate this.
I say they got pretty good odds.
Yeah, they got pretty good odds. We got AD and JW. And I got two pieces of paper right here. Okay. AD and JW. This is for $50, guys. Put this in the old coffee cup, shake it around, shake it all around. Pulling out one right now. JW, Joe Winters wins. I'm sorry, Ashley, but Joe said his prayers this morning, and Joe will mail you when I get your home address an Amazon gift card for $50.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim.
Congrats, Joe.
Anything
Thank you.
else, Elizabeth?
No, that's it. Great seminar. And as always, we definitely appreciate your time. And I guess today was a little busy for everybody, but hopefully we have some more attendance on Thursday's session.
I think everybody played too hard on the weekend. What do you think?
I
And,
think so.
the hangover from the Braves and all the games, might have did it. I got to go to the Braves game on Saturday night. It was awesome. And what an environment. But I sure was hurting on Sunday. But anyway, thank you all for attending. Have a great week.
Thank you, Jim, and we'll see you Thursday.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jim.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. Thank y'all.